Welcome to the Charlotte FC season review for their first season of 2022. A statistical driven review and story of Charlotte's progress in the MLS, and analysis of their squad, goals and season performance. Thank you for joining us, and please drop a like on the video. It earns the team an extra point towards Charlotte's final season total. It could make all the difference. Don't forget to subscribe not to miss any upcoming new content from the channel, and if you prefer to view the data directly, head on to our website www.upthefnducks.com. Details are below in the description. So if we're all here, let's get into it. Charlotte FC compete in their inaugural MLS season for the 2022 campaign. They joined the Eastern Conference after being successfully awarded a place in the expansion franchise in December 2019. The team will play their home matches at the Bank of America Stadium, which they will share with the Carolina Panthers of the NFL. They are backed by their owner David Tepper, who is a billionaire hedge fund manager, who also owns the Panthers. Expectations are replaced with excitement for a first campaign, as the largest local supporters group, known as the Mint City Collective, have been a part of supporting the expansion efforts. Their background is from the Panthers fan club, the Roaring Riot. If Charlotte can compete and take some scalping wins in their first campaign at a minimum, then it would have to be seen as successful. For their first season, they've appointed Spaniard Miguel Angel Ramirez, who manages for the first time in MLS. He has most recently managed in the Brazilian League for 3 months with Internacional and had a 17-month tenure with Independiente del Valle of Ecuador between May 2019 and December 2020. Karol Swiderski signed for Charlotte as their first ever designated player in the club's history. The Polish international had been playing his football in Greece for PAOK Salonika, where he won a Greek Super League title and 2 Greek Cups. In 2021 he broke into the Polish national team, scoring 6 goals in 14 appearances, as he was included in the Poland Euro 2020, played in 2022, national team squad. Hopes of the versatile striker, who is strong with both feet, can lead Charlotte's forward line and produce a scoring record that can lead the new franchise to a strong first season. On Football Manager 2022, his 4-star level as a striker is complemented with strong finishing at 14 and first touch 15. While he's off the ball at 14 and anticipation at 15 suggests good movement, both for himself and bringing other team members into play. He's best utilised as either an advanced or deep lying forward or a poaching striker on attack. Charlotte have brought in Spanish central midfielder Sergio Ruiz, who gives the club another option in the centre of the park. Ruiz was actually signed in July 2020 from Racing Santander as the first ever signing for Charlotte FC. He promptly moved to UD Las Palmas on an 18-month loan, playing most of his time in the Spanish La Liga. At 27, he has over 170 appearances in Spain and occupies an international roster slot for Charlotte. At Santander, he was the team captain, possessing strong leadership skills alongside his technical capability. Ruiz is good technically on Football Manager 2022, where in the game's match engine he looks to come deep to get the ball and dictates tempo. This complements his playmaking ability. Across the board, he is well-rounded stat-wise for midfielder, and it will be interesting to see how he settles into a new league and a new country. Charlotte was successful in securing the signature of midfielder Jordi Alcivar from LDU Quito in Ecuador. A 4-year contract is signed, which does include an option to extend for a 5th, as Alcivar becomes part of the active squad for the first campaign in MLS. At 22, he has already made his debut for the Ecuadorian national team, as well as playing at multiple different youth levels for his country. His entire club career has developed at LDU Quito, where he made 86 appearances in all, scoring 5 times and assisting 6 goals. Alcivar also has multiple winners' trophies in his cabinet from Ecuador, including the Serie A title and Copa Ecuador. On Football Manager 2022, Alcivar is prevalent in a number of midfield roles, specifically as a box-to-box or ball-winning midfielder. He possesses very good fitness and stamina, with passing at 15 his best technical attribute. His FM stats suggest lacking somewhat in finishing and decision making, but at 21 still has time for improvement. A strong goalkeeper is certainly a requirement to help build a strong backline, as the defence gets used to playing together. Christian Carlina has been brought in to be Charlotte's number 1 between the posts. Most of his career has been played in his native Croatia, with 5 years in particular at HNK Gorica. His recent season in 2021 saw Carlina switch to Bulgaria, where he was part of the Ludogorets Razgrad team, who won the top division honours in the Bulgarian First League. The 29-year-old goalkeeper made 13 clean sheets in 36 appearances in Bulgaria and has just shy of 300 first-team career starts. Football Manager 2022 sees him as a star man in the Charlotte squad. He is very strong on the FM attributes concerning his area, where he has great command 16 and facing one-on-ones at 16 as well. He's backed with a rating of 15 as well for both handling and reflexes. His distribution is certainly an area where he needs some development, but for a shot-stopping keeper, his stats are very strong for the league. Let's take a look at how the early parts of the season unfolded. With excitement building for Charlotte FC's first ever MLS match, the fixture list confirmed they would be away at DC United. The first home game at the Bank of America Stadium was confirmed to be LA Galaxy, while Atlanta, New England and Cincinnati would bring out the rest of March. Only one of the 7 sides that had joined MLS as an expansion team since 2016 had won their debut match. The Mint City Collective followed this trend with their entrance to the highest level of men's football in the United States ultimately ending in defeat. A 3-0 loss did not tell the entire story, but Charlotte matched DC United for shots and their goalkeeper Bill Hamid was named in the Audi Team of the Week for his multiple saves. Ultimately, Michael Estrada scored a brace with one from the spot before Ola Kamara sealed the result for the home side on Charlotte's MLS debut. Charlotte made their bow at the Bank of America Stadium in front of an MLS record home attendance. A total of 74,479 fans set the record, beating Atlanta United for their game against Portland in 2018. The crowd was hours before kick-off lighting up the local area in anticipation, with their light blue colours flooding the streets. On the pitch, LA Galaxy missed a large number of opportunities, recording 21 shots to just 5 from the hosts. They secured the breakthrough with just 13 minutes from the end, with an outstanding left-foot strike from outside the box by Mexican winger Efrain Alvarez. It flew into the top corner, and although the home fans were left disappointed, the first goal scored in the stadium was without doubt worthy of winning any football match. On matchday 3, Charlotte found themselves behind to a Josef Martinez penalty away at Atlanta, before the historic moment that all the supporters had been waiting for arrived. On 66 minutes, Adam Armour scored Charlotte's first ever league goal, a header from a corner which sneaked past goalkeeper Brad Guzan. Sadly, the celebrations were cut short as Atlanta struck deep into injury time, when Jake Mulroney dribbled into the box and subjected Charlotte to a 2-1 defeat. After 3 matches and 3 losses, the current Supporters' Shield holders New England Revolution were the second visitors to play away at Charlotte. The Bank of America Stadium was rocking with a 3-1 victory, securing the first ever MLS win for the new franchise. Polish striker Karol Swiderski bagged himself a brace, the first a well-struck powerful strike outside the area before hammering home a Ben Bender cutback, after Carlos Heel had equalised through a penalty for New England. It was then Bender himself who gave Charlotte a cushion towards the historic 3 points. With the proverbial monkey off their back waiting for their first win, Charlotte promptly followed it up with another on matchday 5. Struggling FC Cincinnati were put to the sword at the Bank of America Stadium with a 2-0 victory for Charlotte. As he did against New England, Swiderski pocketed 2 goals, with his first capping off 11 passes in the build-up for an excellent team goal. With the late wins in March, Charlotte were positioned 8th in the Western Conference, just outside the playoff positions. As you can see, that puts Charlotte on the same amount of points as DC United and FC Cincinnati. Philadelphia Union were topping the table with 10 after just 4 games, while propping up the pile in the Western Conference was Inter Miami. Moving across to the Western Conference, LAFC and Real Salt Lake were the 2 jostling at the top, while at the bottom, San Jose and Vancouver only had a solitary point each. The Bank of America Stadium finally held witness to host Charlotte FC's first home game of their MLS history. It was fitting that one of the historical giants of the league, LA Galaxy, were the visiting team to complete this memorable occasion. A carnival-style atmosphere filled the streets before, during and after kickoff, with the record MLS attendance adding the cherry on top to the celebrations. Despite the result not going Charlotte's way, they followed up with victories in their 2 subsequent home games in March against New England and Cincinnati. A strong home record is a necessary backbone to compete in the places of which Charlotte aspire. The response of the crowd and the players to that opening day atmosphere will live long in the memories of those associated with the club. April would see 5 matches for Charlotte, with return matches against Atlanta and New England in the MLS, while they make their debut in the US Open Cup away at Greenville Triumph. Charlotte lost their 3rd away game on the bounce as they went down 2-0 to high-flying Philadelphia Union. It took just 4 minutes at Subaru Park to break the deadlock, as Julian Carranza profited from a fast counter-attack. The Union had won 3 of their first 4 games, drawing the other, and secured 4 consecutive wins just after half-time. Daniel Gazdag was given a gift by Christian Kalina, who advertently misplaced his pass straight to the Hungarian, to be left with a tap-in for all 3 points for the Union. In the reverse fixture from matchday 3, Charlotte turned the result, having lost 2-1 away in Atlanta. This time around, all it took was a solitary goal, which came in a freak kind of fashion. A direct corner from Jordi Alcivar caught Brad Guzan by surprise, as it curled directly in, despite the hand Guzan got to the ball as it moved away from him. 3 wins from their first 4 home games for the new franchise saw Charlotte build a healthy points total to be in a somewhat surprising competitive league position in 6th at this stage. Last season's Supporters' Shield victors New England Revolution were next up for Charlotte. As they travelled to the Gillette Stadium, their opponents were looking to halt a run of 4 straight MLS losses. They were successful in that objective, as an early 8th minute header from Adam Buxa put New England in front, with their second, a 72nd minute Matt Polster deflected strike, consolidating their lead. Charlotte did pull one back late through a wonderful long-range dipping finish from Christian Ortiz from outside the box, but ultimately it was not enough, as New England Revolution took the victory 2-1. Greenville Triumph became Charlotte FC's first ever opponents in the US Open Cup. It was also the first time the USL League One side had hosted an MLS team at the Triumph Stadium. It took extra time for Charlotte to break the lower league side's resistance after Christian Ortiz had seen his opener cancelled out by Jake Keegan. In stoppage time at the end of the first half of extra time, Harrison Aful took the role of match winner. Playing a 1-2 on the edge of the box with debutant Kamil Josiak, Aful then slotted in to put Charlotte into the next round with a 2-1 win after extra time. A tight match away at Colorado saw a goalless scoreline as Charlotte returned home with a single point. William Yarbrough was the star for the Rapids, making multiple saves in the second half to shut out Charlotte's attacking frontline. This included an important stoppage time low stop when it looked like Mackenzie Gaines was through to score the winner. Had he squared it, however, Karol Swiderski was unmarked for a tap-in, a choice which left the pole visually frustrated. Yarbrough saved 5 shots on target in all to keep the game level. At the end of April, Charlotte found themselves in 11th in the Eastern Conference. It was a tight table, with only 9 points separating top to bottom. Philadelphia Union still leading the way, with New York Red Bulls and Orlando City just behind. At the bottom, Inter Miami and DC United were propping up the foot of the table. Over to the Western Conference, and Los Angeles FC and Austin FC were the pace setters with a high points total so far. At the bottom, San Jose and Vancouver propped up their table, and the Seattle Sounders in 12th had a few games in hand, having won the CONCACAF Champions League. Charlotte moved to agree a trade with Colorado Rapids to bring forward Andre Shinyashiki to North Carolina. The Brazilian attacker had appeared in all of Colorado's opening 8 MLS matches, but was struggling to acquire minutes, as Diego Rubio was leading the line, and not helped also by the acquisition of Gyasi Zardes. The deal is understood to be for a portion of general allocation money, which could rise depending on performance. With 16 goals in 88 games for the Rapids, Shinyashiki will come to bolster the attacking line. Drawing in the impressive goal-scoring start of the season of Karol Swiderski, he will wear the number 16 shirt for the remainder of the season. After Vinicius Melo became Charlotte's first under-22 initiative signing, the new franchise moved to secure another, with Corin Vargas signing from Firenze of Portugal. A 20-year-old Colombian striker, Vargas has played his initial first-team season in the Portuguese second division, scoring 8 times in his 31 appearances for Firenze before his move. He has the potential to play from a wing position and becomes the last Charlotte signing before the closing of the primary transfer window. The month of May was a busy one for the North Carolina side, with Charlotte facing 7 matches in the month alone. This included 2 US Open Cup rounds and 5 MLS games, 3 of which were at home and 2 would be on the road. The opening match in May for Charlotte still saw them chasing their first MLS away win in their opening season. Their opponents on matchday 10, Orlando City, had raced into a 2-goal lead by half-time. Fullback Ruan on 16 minutes scored the first, before turning provider to assist Facundo Torres. After breaking the Charlotte backline, he squared across goal to Torres, leaving Charlotte a tough task to get back into the game. A 60th minute penalty from Christian Fuchs, the first ever in Charlotte's brief MLS history, put them in with a shout. But ultimately Orlando were able to shut the game down as Charlotte lost 2-1. A 4th win in a row at the Bank of America Stadium was achieved with a 1-0 victory over Inter Miami. After a rough start to the season for Phil Neville's side, Miami had picked up 9 points out of the last 12. Miguel Angel Ramirez handed a debut to new signing Andre Shinyashiki and was duly repaid, as the Brazilian scored the only goal of the game in the 68th minute. Shinyashiki moved towards the back post to control a Jordi Reyna cross on the volley to open his account in North Carolina. there was no way back for Inter Miami as Charlotte took all 3 points and could look ahead to the midweek US Open Cup match. With 32 teams remaining in the US Open Cup, Charlotte were paired with Richmond Kickers, who played in the same USL League One as their previous round opponents Greenville. In a changed Charlotte side, Daniel Rios put the MLS side in front before Zacharias Moras equalised on 53 minutes. Charlotte then turned up the gears as they blew Richmond away with 4 goals in the last 35 minutes. Jordi Reyna, a double from Mackenzie Gaines, and finally an Andre Shinyashiki effort was enough to take a 5-1 win and qualification to the next round. Charlotte were drawn to face another away tie in the round of 16 against New York Red Bulls. Charlotte's home unbeaten record came to an end at the hands of CF Montreal on matchday 12, as the Canadian side stretched their own unbeaten streak to 8 games. Andre Shinyashiki struck a post for Charlotte before on the stroke of half-time Montreal took the lead. Georgia Mihailovic scored his 6th of the season, beating Carlina from a close range from a Romel Quioto cross. The game was moved beyond doubt in the 67th minute when Alistair Johnson struck a low-angled shot just inside the post, kissing the far post on its way in, securing a 2-0 victory for Montreal to take back to Canada. The signing of Andre Shinyashiki had transitioned into goals in the early part of his Charlotte's career. His 8th-minute strike against Vancouver was his 3rd in 4 games since signing for the club. It was, however, a response to Vancouver's opener on just 2 minutes, when Christian Fuchs was dispossessed on the edge of his own box by Toussaint Ricketts, who promptly fired in the bottom corner. After Shinyashiki's header, Charlotte had to wait until 5 minutes from the end of the game for Daniel Rios to tap home from close range and give the home side all 3 points in a 2-1 victory. The round of 16 was where Charlotte's debut US Open Cup run came to an end at the hands of New York Red Bulls. Playing away at the Red Bulls Arena, Charlotte were behind after just 2 minutes from Patrick Klamala, but a response from Daniel Rios came just 6 minutes later to level the tie. The second half saw the Red Bulls regain the lead through Dylan Nealis before Tom Barlow secured the home side's passage through to the next round in injury time. Charlotte faced a tough trip to face the CONCACAF Champions League winners Seattle Sounders, who despite their lowly position in their conference possessed a number of games in hand and a strong squad fully focused now on the MLS campaign. A strong start from Seattle was hijacked by Ben Bender's 20th minute opener, pouncing on a rebound off the goalkeeper from a direct free kick. It took until the 72nd minute for Seattle to post their response, but they equalised through Jordan Morris with a header from an Alex Roldan cross. Before Raul Ruidas turned the game around with just 10 minutes to go, finding half a yard to hit a wonderful curling strike into the top right hand corner, securing the win for the Sounders. So at the end of May, Charlotte remained 11th in the Eastern Conference, but they were more than competing with the teams around them. New York City had taken over the top spot, but if you look at the playoffs, Charlotte only 2 points short with Inter Miami in that 7th place. Moving across to the Western Conference, Los Angeles FC headed up with Dallas, Real Salt Lake and Austin just behind. The playoffs are looking tight in that division also. On the final day of May, Charlotte FC announced that Miguel Angel Ramirez would be leaving his position as head coach with immediate effect. With the team from North Carolina 9th in their conference and what is their inaugural MLS season, the decision was met with surprise and many questions. At the time of this review, no further details were available, except as a statement from sporting director Zoran Cuneta stating, "We made a decision for the best of the club." Assistant coach Christian Latanzio takes over the reign as Charlotte's interim head coach for the rest of the 2022 season, having previously worked as an assistant at New York City, before his appointment with Charlotte. At the end of May, Charlotte are positioned 11th in the Eastern Conference with 16 points. Overall, competing for the Supporters' Shield, they are placed 21st. In all competitions, they have a goals per game ratio of 1.27 scored and 1.53 conceded. In the 5 home games played by Charlotte so far, they have won 3, drawn none and lost 2, scoring a total of 7 goals at a rate of 1.4 goals per game. Charlotte have also conceded 5 goals at a rate of 1 goal per game, which shows a decent home record for Charlotte. In the 10 away games played by Charlotte so far, they've won only 2, drawn 1 and lost 7, scoring a total of 12 goals at a rate of 1.2 goals per game, but also conceding 18 goals at a rate of 1.8 goals per game, a vast contrast to their home form. Karol Swiderski leads the scoring charts for Charlotte, with 4 goals so far. Andre Shinyashiki, despite only signing at the start of May, has already contributed 3 goals to the Charlotte cause. This levels him in second place with Daniel Rios. Jordi Reyna has only been on the pitch 387 minutes in total at the end of May, but the Peruvian is assisting at a rate of 1.08 goals per game. Ben Bender recorded 3 assists in his first 5 matches, but he hasn't added to that tally since. Most of Charlotte's games so far have been played against teams from the Eastern Conference, with a very strong home record, beating 4 out of 5 of these teams. But if you look on the road, they've lost all 5 against their Eastern rivals. Playing matches in the Western Conference, they've played 4, a loss against LA Galaxy and a win over Vancouver Whitecaps at home, and as we've previously covered, been unable to win away from home as of yet. Charlotte have lined up most often in a 4-1-3-2 formation or a 4-1-4-1 if they opt for another midfield option. Early on, Ramirez also used a 5-4-1 in which Charlotte failed to score and lost all games in the 3 attempts that they used it. Charlotte have an average completion percentage in the league at 81.4%, which is placed 14th when compared with all MLS teams overall. Attacking wise, Charlotte have a good shot on target percentage, with 37.5% representing 6th in the league. This coming from a total of 168 shots in 13 MLS matches. Defensively, Christian Carlino is 6th for his saves percentage at 73.1%, with Charlotte picking up 4 clean sheets in the MLS at the end of May. However, Charlotte are only placed 27th for winning all on-field duel situations at just 46%. Croatian goalkeeper Christian Carlino has cemented his place as the Charlotte FC #1 goalkeeper. As the new franchise look to establish themselves in the MLS, he has conceded at a rate of 1.4 goals per game so far. For context in comparison, Carlino played 24 times for Ludogorets Razgrad of Bulgaria in the 2021-22 season, conceding just 26 times, at a ratio of 1.07 conceded per game. At 4 clean sheets, however, this sits well overall, 8th compared with other MLS teams in the league campaign. Of Charlotte's backup goalkeeping options, George Marks is the only one to have made first team minutes for the team from North Carolina. Marks made both of his starts in the US Open Cup victories against Greenville and Richmond, conceding once in each of these matches, with the round of 32 against Greenville going to extra time before Charlotte got the job done. Adrian Zendejas has been loaned out to Charlotte Independence in USL League One, and Pablo Cisniega remains a squad reserve to be called upon if required. The right back position has been secured by Jalen Lindsay, playing there even when Charlotte switched to a 5-4-1 formation early on in the season. While at left back, the selection has been shared between the Costa Rican Joseph Mora and the Austrian Christian Fuchs, with Fuchs used much often as a centre back. But a natural left footer and full-back in his career, he is fully capable of playing both positions. Harrison Afful has filled in at right back on one occasion in the league against Vancouver, as well as playing all 3 US Open Cup matches. Koa Santos made his solitary start at left back as well against Richmond in the Cup. At centre back, Guzman Corujo has been paired with either Christian, whether it be Fuchs when not playing left back, or Venezuelan Christian McCoon, who has started 10 matches. Anton Walks and Jan Sobocinski have provided backup when called upon. First ever Charlotte FC goalscorer Adam Armour has actually only started 1 game in the US Open Cup when he played that day at left midfield. At the base of midfield, in whatever formation Charlotte had decided to play, Brant Bronico had been the selection, as the American midfielder has featured in every single match to date. In front of Bronico are either Sergio Ruiz paired with Christian Ortiz or Ben Bender, or with Jordi Alcivar playing as a lone number 10. Bender has been the most fruitful in terms of direct goal contributions, with a total of 5, coming from 2 goals and 3 assists. Most of these have been when Bender has played wide on the left, allowing him into more dangerous areas. Alcivar has been used with versatility so far, playing both centrally in a deeper position, more attacking, and also both off the right and left of midfield. It's fair to say neither Alcivar or Bronico are shy of a tackle, with both of them picking up 5 yellow cards apiece so far. Ecuadorian Alan Franco has more often than not played on the right side of midfield, but only has a single assist to his name. Looking at a supporting squad player to date, Derek Jones has totaled 3 starts and 3 substitute appearances in centre midfield. After 2 MLS substitute appearances at the start of the season, Chris Hegart suffered a knee injury and hasn't been seen on the field since. The 20-year-old had to have meniscectomy surgery and will be out long-term with his recovery. Polish striker Karol Swiderski hit 2 braces for Charlotte in just his 3rd and 4th matches for the club, showing promising signs that the floodgates would open, but it's been a frustrating time in front of goal for the Pole as he hasn't scored in the last 8 matches. Andrei Shinyashiki signed from Colorado in May. He's already made 4 direct goal contributions in just 6 games, which included 3 goals for himself. Additional signings, Kamil Josiak and Kerwin Vargas, are embedding themselves in the squad and starting to pick up minutes as well. Charlotte have missed Brazilian forward Vinicius Melo to date, who has had to have foot surgery. The number 9 will be hoping to make his Charlotte bow before too long. Oren McKinsey-Gaines has forced his way into the team in a right wing/midfield position, while Jordi Reyna, despite his substitute appearances, is making big impacts from the bench, with a goal and 4 assists so far. 71.4% of all goals scored are coming from open play scenarios, 15 out of 21. This positions Charlotte slightly below the league average of 74.2%. This has resulted in Charlotte scoring 6 of their goals from set-piece situations. When looking at goals conceded, just 17.4% have come from set-piece situations, representing 3 of 23, which is much lower than the league average by almost 10%. It is also worth noting that 2 of those set-pieces conceded were from penalties, with Charlotte yet to concede from any free-kick scenario at the end of May. Charlotte FC have a reasonably high percentage of goals scored outside the box, with 14.3%. Topping this stat are Columbus Crew at 27.8% and Houston Dynamo at 23.8%. with a higher proportion of their goals from outside 18 yards. Charlotte's number relates to 3 goals in total scored outside, which is equal to the 3 outside the box efforts conceded to opponents. With 21 goals scored and 23 goals conceded in the 17 matches played, there is a tendency for more goals to be scored for and against in the second half. The first 15 and the 46 to 60th minute brackets are where Charlotte come out of the traps early on the attacking front. Defensively, Charlotte seem to be fairly well spread at conceding from the 30th minute onwards. Of the 6 goals scored by set pieces, only 1 was a penalty, with Christian Fuchs scoring the first ever penalty kick in Charlotte FC's brief history in the defeat to Orlando City. Christian Kerlina was beaten from the spot on 3 separate occasions by the end of March, but hasn't faced one since. Charlotte have been the most profitable from corner set pieces, which included their first ever goal, come against Atlanta United from Adam Armour, profiting from a Ben Bender corner. Miguel Angel Ramirez's side have conceded most from crossing positions. Considering this is the most common form of goal by MLS teams, Charlotte are more or less in line with the league average. However, Charlotte seem to defend central passes or through balls better looking at the stats, with just 17.4% of all goals coming from a controlled pass. Charlotte rank high for individual goals scored with 23.8%, with only 4.8% goals attributed to own goals or caused by clear errors. For classification details on how we decide on these goals classifications, please refer to the FM Ducks website. Most goals scored are finding their way past opposition goalkeepers' right hands, with over 60% of goals scored finding the left side of the net. Charlotte concede most often in the bottom central portion of the goal, most likely due to the goals conceded from crossing positions, which are tapped in centrally from close range. In summary, a positive start to the first campaign for Charlotte, with some big fan memories, some good wins, and a decent position considering it's their first season. But a real shocker came at the end of May with the leaving of Miguel Angel Ramirez, with still some questions with fans as to what's happening and where the future lies for the North Carolina side. They need to score more goals and tighten up at the back, of course, but these are early days and Charlotte will be thinking there's a potential chance to sniff a playoff position if they can just find some form towards the back end of the season. That's all for today. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video, as these season reviews are something new I've been working on for quite some time and I hope you found informative and interesting. If you enjoyed, please support the channel with a like, subscribe and hit that notification button as we have more in-depth season reviews to come. Also available are other stat and season reviews for the MLS and also our satirical Football Manager season on FM22, currently with Swansea City. I want to give credit to the guys over at sortitoutsI.com who produced the kit graphics we used today. They're developed for Football Manager and of course we are using last season's shirt as the ones available, but do check them out for their extensive work. Again, thank you for enjoying the video and I hope to see you soon.